Hi, what's your name?
Jeff?
I'm Levin. Well, good to meet you.
My pleasure. How are you doing?
And well, your first question is going to be okay, if you were to receive $1,000 every month, guaranteed, how would that benefit your life? No strings attached.
Depending on your bills, it gives you just a level playing field. You can make better decisions, more positive, what's better for you and your family, and decisions based on altruistic methods rather than just survival. It's a different for some people. If you look at our streets, I have so much compassion for those homeless people. You cannot believe it. They can't dig out. We should all do something. But in the long run, those tests have shown you really, tough love is sometimes good there. But if they had a platform, they could pick them up. And
Right.
I might not be so afraid of that kind of universal baseline for people. I like that. Although at my age, I'm 62. It's
How
different.
would it benefit you personally, you think?
In the same manner I described, but on a more personal level, because it'd be me. It'd make my day easy,
Righto.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
I,
just smooth things out for a lot of people.
yeah, smooth things out, right? And I think like, and beyond just ourselves, if because we're talking about a policy that's called the universal basic income.
Yeah.
Have
yeah,
you heard
yeah.
of this?
Yeah, I
idea?
dig it. Yeah.
All right, yeah. So there's a president candidate running for the presidency. His name's Andrew Yang.
Yeah.
Uh,
Just realize there's two opinions, and you get a vote. Please go vote. If you're passionate about one side, don't say, "Oh, my vote doesn't matter." If everybody would vote, then I think in the concept of majority idea
Yeah.
is accepted. And people could be
Yeah.
harmonious about it.
And I think like the whole voting thing is great because even if people don't vote, it's like the main point is to pay attention and to participate and to make yourself because everybody is a participant
Yeah,
in
and if you
society.
can't applaud that with your heart, then you're not being real. If they want truth and beauty and peace and all this stuff for everybody, it's just got to come out somewhere. And hard work gets a lot of things from most cultures, and I would say every culture. But there's always the people that are, and I wouldn't be afraid of it. But if everybody just did that, what would the productivity scale and the graph go to? What would it look like? They can predict that it would be lower than what it is now. It depends what you want for society. And look at the way cities have integrated into different countries, and the standard of living and civilization has kind of stepped up from maybe the dark ages.
Yeah, we're definitely evolving, right? We're evolving.
I wasn't
aren't we?
alive then. Neither
Right.
were you, right?
Yeah,
It's a big
I don't want
jump.
to be alive then. I want to be alive now.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a good time, and it's a critical time. It feels like it to me. Um, because we have challenges coming up. Our society has evolved from a place where we need to do a lot of grunt work. We need to farm, right? Then we got tractors, right? And an automated way. And to transform society, we're up leveled. We got different roles that are challenging to us intellectually, spiritually. And next, we're automating again. It's the second, well, they're calling it the fourth industrial revolution, where computers, AI, and robotics will automate driving, will automate a lot of tasks, software tasks like call center work, like checkout at the grocery store. Simple robotics can take care of that. So in a way, we're doing great things with our technology. Now we're going to free up so much human capital, meaning brain power, creativity, individual entrepreneurship, provided that
Those are big
everybody.
ideas. You got to applaud those ideas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are great.
So I'm excited about where we're going in the future. However, it can go bad if we don't steer it a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
If we have a chance to influence it in the positive and we fail to do that, I think we're accountable in it. But if we're in this, for a biological term, like symbiotic relationship with every brother, yeah, but some people are still, they have malice and they want to hurt other people, and that's not fair to other people. They're trying to play straight up.
And I think the malice and wanting to hurt people, yeah, it's a big problem, right?
Yeah.
And I think where do you think that comes from? Why do people want to hurt each other?
Lack of plenty.
Lack of plenty.
Yeah, and that adds to your argument. I know what you're saying, universal
yeah.
base income. Let's start with the poorest of the poor and get them
I don't want to be leading you there.
field and paying taxes too, and because where's the money come from, right? If everybody gets it and nobody's putting in because they only have 1,000, or they're taking 20% of theirs because now they're down to 800. I don't know if there's a baseline. If you look at rents and food and everything, there's an idea in there that if there was some reform to it and more people could agree to it and get a more working plan, maybe you lift up the homeless because there's probably a smaller segment, and the other people are going to have their own house.
Yeah, it's wherever people are at currently, they'll just be raised. and some people will be from the floor to standing.
Watch out for growing pains. I mean, you could do it. This is a beautiful idea, but if you do it all at once, you could grow too big, too fast, and maybe it would, the whole thing, the numbers would implode, because where you're going to generate the capital, you're going to fiat money, and so money doesn't mean anything. The governments can print them, and money, they can cut it off. They can print it and cut it off. They have control.
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
Fed does now.
So yeah, you're right. You're right. And I feel like
Well, I'm old. I'm 62.
that's a very pragmatic approach to it, and I think it is a beautiful idea, and we want to be pragmatic too, right?
Yeah, and it proves that people can listen and share ideas, and maybe those ideas can progress to one day what is, what's really true. The word is true. If we could be doing the truth, we'd all be happy.
So based on that, what I would like to see, my ideal person in leadership is somebody who understands everything that we just talked about, including how good it is, including how pragmatic we need to be if it doesn't work, right? If it doesn't work, change the fucking tactic. You tried it, tweak it, keep going. This is how everybody in their day-to-day lives solve and improve their problems, improve their life, is they try something, and if it doesn't work, do something else. But in our field of politics, it's like there's none of that non-ideological trial and error, everybody in good faith, trying things
High
out.
Ideals.
It's like
With intelligence,
it's
high
like
ideals and education and sharing ideas and mass proliferation of good ideas. So that's a really good idea. I can't say it is, but
like we are such a punitive.
Going to be tentative or fragile at best, and if it breaks down, you have a lot of people unhappy. If it continues and the program does good for everybody, why wouldn't everybody agree with it? But how do you start it? It's like trying to build the freeway. Sometimes they put two lanes through first, and then they build out to 8 lanes each, like LA.
Yeah. Like expand it, like change it, move it, and the thing is,
yeah.
the way we organize society is actually very, very changeable. It's very malleable. The only thing in our way is our own minds, right? Our own opinions. So if our own opinions are so very like firmly stuck in the ground, and we can't shift and try out new ideas and do, then we're stuck. We're stuck with like a road is a physical piece of infrastructure, right? A building is a physical piece of infrastructure. If tomorrow we invent teleportation and we don't need these roads anymore, it's going to be a hell of a lot of effort to dismantle the roads and turn them into something else. But with behavior and our own mindsets, those shifts can happen just like that. And all it is just getting each other to participate in these types of active imagination and tuning into each other.
And the truth.
And figuring out what the truth is by discussing.
Is the science behind climate change. It's a regular cycle. It's predictable, and once in a while there's a crisis, and don't over panic or try to predict this next big cataclysm and live in fear. I mean, it's just two different philosophies, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I'm not afraid of the idea of universal income for the most needy in America. Citizenship might have to be a thing. So at some point, these people are converting it into they might not be able to ever, if they're mentally ill, and there might not be, but there's programs for that too.
Right.
But
even if that's so, we still have to help them.
And how much the contribution from the general public is. And there's a bunch maybe there's enough people to do it. I don't know.
There is.
Is there?
And yeah, that's why I'm so fucking excited to be doing this. So this hat, okay, let me tell you about this hat. It says math, right?
I need that hat, yeah.
Yeah, bro. Okay, so math is, it's an acronym for Make America Think Harder. Okay, what do you think?
Again? I'm a Republican. I have to tell you that.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well,
Is that fair?
Yeah, I have family who are Trump supporters. I myself.
I was a Democrat when I was a young man.
Okay.
As I saw conservative kind of trend towards keeping people healthy and happy and jobs created. And
so I fully agree. I like.
Over time.
How about this? Would you agree? Would you agree with this statement? In order to make America great again, we have to make America think harder.
I think that's a great take. Or smarter.
We are exactly trying to solve the same problems that Donald Trump pointed out. So, Andrew Yang would say Trump is not the enemy. He's not the problem. He's the symptom of the problem. The problem is economic distress.
He's the guy with the motivation and the heart and the desire to make a meaningful change. It's not just fabricated on future falsehoods. So maybe let's cut some of the crap and get some truth out there. Everybody's going to like that.
Well said. So that's why I'm out here hustling. Hustling for this guy. And now you got did you get one of these stickers? So that's a math hat. Cool. Well, he's also Asian, so I look like him. But, it's a coincidence. it's a happy coincidence personally. But I would support him either way because I believe he's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
And you like the agenda he's presenting?
A lot.
'Cause I think
Yeah.
that's what. And all the times I've voted, and I've been voting since I was old enough to vote, and I'm 62 now, so there's plenty of elections. I've seen a bunch of cycles. If you care, vote. If you kind of think you know what somebody's agenda is, what they're going to push forward, and you back that, then it's fine. And you could always go to council meetings, town council meetings. It's just interactive government. If people get involved and their vote does matter, and people know their votes matter, and you have a movement like Mr. Trump did. I mean, they called it a movement.
Yeah. It won. The movement won.
They expected Hillary to win hands down.
Yeah. It was the greatest upset of the history of humanity. One of.
Yeah.
It was a big shock, man.
Oh yeah.
I think I went through many months of recovery from that shock. Within my family, like there was a lot of things that happened. Like,
Well, the Clintons themselves have been under attack for years. They've been in power for years. Like them or hate them, there's a bunch of stories about them. I don't hear as many good stories as I do bad. We gave Mr. Obama 8 years to do something good, and he didn't do something that was so good, but was filled with some fabrications and imagination. But maybe they were a good heart, but they're not following implementation in a normal manner.
I feel like all of those people we just named, they, good, bad, I don't care, okay? They were ineffective, is what I would say, in bringing forth, like, these are people from an era. What Andrew Yang would say is he doesn't fault people for the incentives that made them, right? The incentives that these people grew up in, they thrived in those sets of things that needed to be done the way they do to thrive. But now it's something else now.
It's a more humane way to get it done, and of people that don't have a baseline of income. There's lots of programs. How are they going to integrate with those and consolidate? And do they get Medi-Cal and Medicare as well, or is it just baseline income, not based on need? Just I don't really know the specifics of it.
So I'll tell you something.
Fine-tune this thing if the numbers work.
I'll tell you what this guy wants to do. How's that? So this guy wants to do a universal basic income of $1,000 a month to every adult citizen, no questions asked.
So not based on need, just
not based on need. It's to make every citizen a shareholder in our overall economy, which is automating more and more via AI, automation, robotics. 30% of all jobs in the next 10 years. That's about 30 to 40 million jobs. And it's just a matter of technology evolving.
Jobs.
Yeah. And so, while our economy is growing, middle class is shrinking, wages are falling, unemployment's going up, suicide rates have already been rising, life expectancy has dropped for the past 3 years. There's a lot of numbers and statistics that,
Just to balance that out, I would say the VA program was inadequate at best, and a lot of veterans felt frustrated, and their suicide rate is off that chart. So
Yeah.
So it's caused by stress. If it's taking stress,
financial stress and health stress.
is that need, or is it just this is like you said, it's a business opportunity where they're a financial participant in the growth of the country?
Say that last part again.
Well, if you're saying then they get this 1,000 to be in the program, and they have a financial interest in the success of the nation.
Exactly.
When
Shareholder.
money, you get a dividend.
Yeah. We're all shareholders. We already are, right? Except,
Good idea.
we all participate in our culture. Even the people who don't make any money. Right now, we value people by the money they make in the market. Now, what about a volunteer? What about a great parent that don't make any money? But their contribution and participation in society is tremendous, but they don't make any money. So if money is how we value people, then we are ignoring so much value in our society.
Well, if you're paying into the pool, paying taxes over time, and you're going to withdraw some benefit full, or in some cases above what you put in, there's have to be, the whole system can be contrived, but if it's well monitored and implemented, I think something like that could only be good for the whole world.
Yeah, I think so too.
If you do it in America, though, you have to start here, right? And there's vast resources. We have 300 plus million people here, and maybe 40% work. I mean, everybody's working right now. I don't know what the
Yeah.
numbers are. It's
So,
gonna-
so the numbers are labor force participation is I think about 65% labor force participation,
well, that's
which is at
25%
a
higher than I was going to say.
okay,
So
yeah,
just say
yeah,
40.
and that's a 15-year low. It's at a 15-year-old low, even though unemployment numbers look great. And the reason is it's specifics, right? It's what we're measuring. Unemployment doesn't measure people who aren't looking for a job. So if somebody who already gave up, they don't count in that number. So, you know, so the better metric is labor force participation. And Yang points that out too. We are following the wrong metrics.
Maybe they're off the grid making money and they're not paying taxes. I think group participation
That too.
is, that's the only thing I could think they're going to account for that. But
They dropped out of the formal economy.
as far as those numbers are considered.
Right.
But in what economy? Take the Fed. Look at their regulation and their overnight rate and their specific need for cash around the world, and they control it in most countries, except for the countries that we're at war with, because they're trying to get control of those.
Yeah.
Two.
Financial warfare is a thing.
Who's participating in this plan? When we talk about the whole world, who's the good guys and the bad guys? If you can maybe identify that. If so on the other side of your debate, on the just in fairness, the other side, we're in the largest economy ever. Yep. We're growing above $14 trillion GDP.
It's 20 something.
We've had some quarter reporting of almost 4%. If you read Alan Greenspan's book, he said anything over 1.5% is robust. So we don't. It's the best it's been. If that's for you,
if you measure output,
pushing the cart instead of saying slow it down is the right amount of stuff in the cart.
Yeah, in terms of output
too. So to
that point,
some people don't want to work. Some people do want to work. Some people don't want to pay taxes. Some people don't mind.
So I'll add a little subtlety to what you just said, right? About us being the best. We're at the best point we've ever been at.
It's the biggest numbers.
Biggest numbers, right? Exactly. And so it's big numbers, but it's about
the clock is slowing down. Mr. Trump has slowed that clock down. The projection is way underneath, and he's limiting even the staff in his own office. And he's a business guy. He knows how to run the economy. So his number, I would support it if you guys went for president. You get him to be Secretary of State or the Treasury.
Who?
I think he's a.
You're talking about
Mr. Trump?
Oh, to Treasury. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think he prioritizes that. So like the deregulation really helped business, I think, right? I mean, I'm not an expert.
I don't know. I'm not an expert either. Just an opinion. You'll vote, right? That's what I meant to say.
So Yang is also a businessman. He's a tech entrepreneur. He's a technologist, right? And he himself is his own personal net worth is only he's young. He's 44. So he's right in the middle there. I think
that's 30 years younger.
Right. Yeah. He's got a lot of energy. Every one of his interviews
every day.
Every one of his interviews sounds like a TED Talk, where they go deep and intellectual about things and get into engineering of policies, how to pay for it, what are the external circumstances, the tangibles, the intangibles, all that stuff. You don't hear a politician dig deep like that in an honest, long-form debate interview. I mean, Bernie Sanders did with Joe Rogan. I think it wasn't as... he's a different type of character. Andrew Yang's more of solutions engineer. He goes deeper. And, I mean, that's why, yeah, I really think it's important. It's a great, great opportunity to get this guy in.
Who are you voting for?
Andrew Yang.
I'll consider it.
For show. Yeah. I wouldn't be out here if it wasn't for this guy. I mean, I'm not a professional YouTuber or anything. This is my first time doing anything. Right. My friend Carlo either.
Just cutting us on the fly.
We just started getting out there because this guy inspires us so damn much. Like, I'm like, everybody, come on, guys. Like, we got to get this guy because it's going to be great. Like,
sure.
It
goes viral.
I hope so. Yeah.
Well, thanks
for helping us out.
If he gets the support, he'll win. I think those are good ideas, and I think getting some of those points across to people, because, I had a minute to listen, and I learned some things, and I'll give it a consideration when I go to the voting block.
I'll let you know where to find more information. He did a good long-form interview with Joe Rogan. Do you watch? Oh, do you like?
I like Joe Rogan.
Ben Shapiro?
I'm not a fan.
Not a fan. Who? Tucker Carlson?
87% of the time.
Okay, okay.
He can get
so
off the
he
chain.
did. I don't
He
think
can
they
be
did
really
a. They
smart guy.
they didn't do a long form interview, but they did like a news interview with Tucker Carlson and Andrew Yang. So you might check that
you
out.
watch how he handles some of his interviews. He was a debate champion in a major college. You know,
Tucker.
yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
But he'll use his laughing and his emotion. If he's going to be a commentator, that's a great thing. If he's being a reporter, you really shouldn't delve there. Just
Yeah, I feel like Tucker. He's a personality. He's like he's a good guy to like banter with at a bar and like high energy. But when you're interviewing, like when you're a news anchor, you gotta be even. You want to be sure you don't like overpower the other person, so the other person gets honestly heard. I feel like in those aspects, you have to be a strong personality to interview with Tucker Carlson and and really get your feelings across.
and it doesn't hurt if you're in agreement on a couple of views that prove to him that you're rational.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's easy sailing, I bet. Until that point, you know, you're going to get confrontation. The guy's smart. He's got a big repertoire. He's a young man too. I mean, so much research and facts, and it's kind of.
That's where you can find out.
Okay.
Check him out on YouTube.
All right, thanks a lot.
Tucker Carlson. What's your name again?
Jeff Anderson.
Let's get.
I never tire, spirit live like a wire. I came to let you know fantasies burn like desires. Before I go on this mic, I show pity. Coast to coast, I whirlwind through cities.